In this video, I'll be showing what I would like to call the ghost print technique. I'll be using products from the Hero Arts My Monthly Hero February 2024 kit and monthly release. But you can of course use what you have in your stash. Hi, this is Anna of Crafty Anna Studio. Welcome to my YouTube channel where I post paper crafting and card making tutorials. First, let's take a quick look at this month's kit. The kit contents come in this zippered pouch. Inside, you get an information card that shows project inspiration, and on the other side, it lists the contents of both the classic and the premium kit. The classic kit comes with a 6x8 stamp set with beautiful floral images and sentiment messages of peace and friendship. It also comes with coordinating fancy dies. The kit also includes dies that cut out the script sentiments and forward tag dies. Almost all Hero Arts kits comes with inks, and this is no exception. In this kit, we have Unicorn White ink, which is a great white pigment ink. It also includes 6 sheets of 8.5 by 5.5 white cardstock, and last but certainly not least, 3 yards of rustic twine. If you are a premium kit subscriber, you get everything in the classic kit plus more. A 6x6 sun stencil plus a 3x4 clear stamp set with images that fit perfectly in the middle of the stencil, Imagine and Peace fancy dies, white embossing powder, and a 48 pack of ephemera, which I will use in this video. This ephemera pack comes with a variety of flowers, bold words like kindness, unity, love, as well as banner sentiments of peace and friendship. Now let's get started with the technique. I have here a piece of cardstock measuring 4.25 by 5.5. I'm taking the sun stencil from the kit and I'm going to tape down the cardstock right in the middle with some washi tape. Then I will take the pigment ink from the kit along with a little mini sponge dauber. I'm going to ink it up very generously and take it to the stencil and pounce it repeatedly over the openings. I try not to do it side-by-side motion as the sponge might get caught in between the nooks and crannies of the stencil. So I continue doing this until I get full coverage all around the cardstock. If you're looking for a good white pigment ink, Hero Arts Unicorn White ink is one of the best out there. It's very opaque and it's perfect for techniques such as this. This technique really calls for pigment inks, and you will see why later. If you use ordinary inks, it might not have the same effect. After it's fully inked up, I gently peel off the stencil from the cardstock. You can barely see the white ink on the white cardstock, and that's why it's called ghost print. Pigment ink takes a while to dry, so I will set it aside first while I work on another panel. I have here another piece of cardstock measuring 4.25 by 5.5. I'll be using another stencil called the Peace Daisy stencil. This is also from this month's release. I taped down the stencil with washi tape, and now I'm going to use the same sponge dauber to ink up the stencil. After it's fully inked up, I gently remove the stencil and set it aside to dry. To clean the stencils, I simply spray it with water, and with a microfiber cloth, I just gently dab the ink off. So now it's time to ink blend. I have here a crimson ink from the Core Ink line and a blending brush. I'm going to fill up my brush with ink, and then starting from outside the card panel, I'm going to gently take it in through the cardstock in a circular motion. I'm going to do a light application first, all around until I get full coverage, and then I will come back later to darken the edges with more ink. I won't be inking up the middle because I know I'm going to put an element there to cover it up. I know I posted a little late this month, but this month has been very, very busy. And thank God it's leap year because I get that extra day to post in February. So after applying a light layer of ink, I'm going to come back and darken the edges by applying more ink. Please keep in mind that for this part of the technique, you cannot use pigment ink. You will have to use regular dye ink for this. I'm not exactly sure how it works, but I think what happens is that the pigment ink grabs onto the dye ink and makes it darker. And because of this, a pattern emerges. For the daisy pattern, I'm going to ink blend a rainbow. I had already started ink blending and I thought my camera was recording, but it's a good thing I caught it in time to find out that it wasn't. So I start with the crimson ink, and then next I'm going to use creamsicle. So I take a separate blending brush and I'm going to blend it right below the crimson ink. And then once that's done, I'm going to come back with the crimson ink just to make sure that it blends seamlessly together. Then next I'm going to ink blend lemon yellow, and then green apple, then summer sky, and lastly orchid. I'm going to set it to music so you can watch me as I ink blend the rainbow. But before I do, I would love it if you could hit the subscribe button and like the video as well. Thanks! So now I'm going to add some elements to my card. I will use the flowers and feathers from the ephemera pack and arrange them on my card. I then decided that I wanted to cut out the white edges from each of the elements. This is of course optional. I don't mind fussy cutting at all. I actually enjoy it. I find that if I keep my hand holding the scissors stationary and instead move the elements I'm cutting, it makes fussy cutting a lot easier. But before I glue the elements down, I thought of adding some gold heat emboss details. I do that using this Versamark pen. This pen has a brush nib and a fine tip nib. If you don't have a Versamark pen, a glue pen will work just as well. With a fine tip, I'm going to dot the middles of the flowers and then add more details on the outer part, and I'll use the lines on the petals as a guide for the rest of the details. Then I will sprinkle it generously with gold embossing powder and heat set it. Then I will do the same to all the other elements. To tie everything together, I'm going to gold heat emboss some details on the background as well. And for this, I'm going to use the brush nib of the Versamark pen. I will just trace the lines radiating from the middle, going outwards. And I do this until I achieve the effect that I want. And here I am arranging the flowers and gluing them down one by one. I'm making sure that I leave some space for the sentiment banner. So for the biggest flower and the final focal point in the card, I will add some dimensional tape at the back and adhere it a little off center. Then for the sentiment banner, I will also gold heat emboss the edges. So I take the tip of the Versamark pen and just swipe it along the edge. Then I'll sprinkle gold embossing powder and heat set it. And this is what the card looks like all finished. I added it to the card base and I added some gold baubles just for that little extra shine. For the rainbow card, I'm going to use this beautiful dove with an olive branch fancy die set. I die cut it out of white cardstock, several layers glued together, and then I stamped the word peace with intensified black ink. If you're interested in any of the products that I used in this tutorial, I have them all in my blog linked below. Thank you so much for watching. Till next time, bye!